What's going on, everyone? Chris from PickDogs.com here on Thursday, July 11th, 2024. I'm here with Costy, part-time Costy, but he's going to be doing a little bit more full-time hours this week. Got him today and tomorrow. But, yeah, got just a Thursday card for MLB, one WNBA game. Jay needed the day, so I decided to bring Costy on. Always love hanging out with Costy. Costy, how's it going?
Going well. Just getting all geared up for football. Already going after all the colleges, seeing who's on the rosters, the transfers, throwing that into the analytics. I mean, because before you blink, you can't really start doing college football in August because then it's just too much work. You really have to start doing it in July, getting all the power rankings in order, because then once it's, week 0, then we're back. And you don't want to be caught with your pants down. Roof, you don't like that, getting caught with your pants down often. So sometimes
Depends on who's on the other side.
Sometimes you might not even see the person on the other side.
Oh,
You're saying the glory hole is not something that
easy. We're only what? It's a minute 16 into the show. Costy's trying to get us in trouble. Oh, man.
But yeah, if anybody wants interest into our syndicate for football, college, and pro, all of our bets we release very early in the week. I mean, 80 to 90% of the volume that we do is on Monday and Tuesday for the weekend to catch the better pricing on the game. And so it's 3 different groups that we deal with, that we broker the games from. So if you're somebody that has a fairly sized bankroll, 5,000, 10,000 or more, definitely give me a call direct. I'll put the number in the comments now.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know if it's for you. It's not for everyone, because it is some work.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We've got to get started early. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Costy and Eric do a radio show out in Vegas, and I was on there yesterday, kind of scratching the surface of college football and just talking about the early part of football and the prep that goes into it. And we were talking about it. You blink, and we were talking about it on the drive-through yesterday. You blink, and all of a sudden, the Hall of Fame game is 2.5, 3 weeks away. So it's like we're almost here already. Like, it just feels like just yesterday that they were handing the Lombardi Trophy over to the Chiefs. But yeah, we're back. The Hall of Fame game on August 1st. Texans and Bears. And yeah, it's one of those things where you just got to kind of prep. But it's like, yeah, I can't stress this enough too. It's not just all about your Alabamas and your Auburns and your Georgias. Those small conferences are solid too.
Now, do you do anything in preseason, Roof, or really stay away from more for monitoring purposes?
I dabbled in it a little bit last year. There was just the automatic of Baltimore in the preseason. That is just like, there's just certain things you bet on. There's just like, there's certain things you do in life. You don't eat yellow snow, you don't spit in the wind, and you bet on the Baltimore Ravens in the preseason.
Now, I'm excited. Every year I get super hyped. We have Bet Bash coming up in early August, where, for those that are not familiar with it, you could Google it. It's called betbash.com, and you'll see all the sharps from across the world meet up once a year in Vegas to go over new strategies, different outs, different outlets, how to navigate the sports markets. With these books, there's a lot of limitations. They don't play fair. And by what I mean by that is, if they think that you have an edge consistently, they chop your account and limit your account to a very small wager size, which in reality seems not fair, because if you have an edge and you could do it, and you could beat them, why wouldn't they take your money if they have enough volume? Because at the end of the day, in very small writing at the end of each screen, it says for recreational use only. So they don't want you really. What that really means is they don't want you to win. They want you to lose. And the numbers show it. I mean, there's such a small withdrawal rate across the entire nation with these sports books that if you're not sharp and you're not meticulous with the way that you have discipline day to day, it's very easy to get caught up, and then you're chasing, and all of a sudden now your account's at zero.
Yeah, the you know the it's not just a cliche in our industry where the house always wins. They make it that way. They're not stupid. So, they they do what they can to protect themselves. And if they catch wind that someone's going to take them for everything they got, they're going to nip it in the bud as soon as they can. And yeah, like Costi said, you kind of just got to toe the line. I think that's just key. That's just part of it. We just got to make sure that you take advantage of your spots, but also play within the lines so that you still can.
Yeah, and it all comes down to, what is your goal? Do you have a time frame that you have an expected return? Do you ever determine your time frame? Most people don't. Most people are either weekend warriors. Most people are look at the board every single day, not have an approach for the money management. Most people are parlay bettors. That's been so like the phenomenon with legalized sports books has exploded the parlay community. I just watched something the other day where they're calling it the parlay phenomenon, where everybody that has a $10 bet every day thinks they could put up a 12-teamer in baseball and cash a $20,000-$30,000 ticket, which is possible. But the odds are so bad and so against you that long term, these sports books just get so rich from people betting parlays and parlays only. And had those people, those exact same people, bet individual games, they would be profitable in the plus. And because they don't, and now granted, look, parlays are great if you know what you're doing, but don't do it for the same size that you're betting your regular size wagers for. Do it for 10% of the overall value of your bet size. Then you're not putting a lot of risk on the parlay. And if it hits, you're getting a big payout. But otherwise, it could definitely crush you.
Sorry, we always talk about like just the perils of parlay betting, and you know, a lot of people go for the high risk, high reward, mentality of it. When, like Costi said, you kind of just gotta pick your spots, and if you're gonna do that, you know, heed some caution with that. Just be careful with it.
Well, and
And
also what happens is when you're betting a parlay, you're getting a really high dopamine hit where you hit the first four, you have two to go. Now you're watching those two games because you have such a huge payout riding on it. A lot of people that have like DK or FanDuel, stuff like that, they cash out early because they already made their money. They're happy with it, or they hedge a little bit. You could do that, but it's that dopamine rush that people earn for parlays that they don't get with a straight bet because a straight bet's boring to them. Making $1,000 wager and getting 1,000 back in reality seems very smart. You're getting 100% return on one bet, but people, because of these sports books, people want that huge 10,000% return on a small wager, and it's part of the industry. It's part of the cycle that we're going through with these legalized sports books, where more and more people that are not day-to-day bettors are doing parlays, because to them it's fun money, it's entertainment.
yeah,
But it's not entertainment when you go 0 for 20 in the parlays, and you could have easily made that money if you bet every game straight. And with me, with underdogs, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to have, when the favorites win, I'm going to lose. And I'm okay with that. I mean, you could look at the top of the leaderboards. Mitch is up top right now. And prior to last week, he was sub 500 record with a huge return. That's how you make money in baseball, in my opinion, consistently. When you pinpoint the underdogs, or if you really like a favorite and they're at home, take them on the run line. And you're going to lose those at times, but you're still getting plus money if the game loses, and you're getting no juice paid out on that. versus if you take that minus 150 and they lose outright, now you just lost 1.5 to 1. So it's negative EV is what we say in our betting circles when you're taking minus 160s, minus 180s just blindly because you like the starting pitcher.
Yeah. You gotta do your digging with everything, whether it's line shopping, getting the closing line value, monitoring pitching changes during baseball season, monitoring lineup moves. It's all part of it. And yeah, it can get to be a little bit tough. But we always talk about dog days of summer, right? So
it's almost over. I feel like it's almost over. It's already we're already at All-Star break next week. And then after All-Star break, you have training camp starting in August. And then boom, August flies by. It's like the opposite of February. February is always the slowest month because you're like, wow, there's only 28 days in February. Why is it feels like 2 months in one? But then August comes and like before you blink, it's September.
For sure. Have you started dabbling into like researching some of these teams already, or are you leaving that for a little bit?
NFL wise, I'm pretty dialed in year round. It's been just because I do a lot of the contests. I've always been a big fan of the game. Outside of being a fan of the game, I feel like I have a really good eye for the NFL week to week. I'm not that type of guy that says, oh, this team in the NFL, the worst thing you could do is obsess about what a team did last week and think that it's going to be the same or similar performance the following week. Whether a team got blown out by 40, it's the NFL. They can come back the next week and win outright, getting 8 or 9 points. So you have to be really dialed in to the first month specifically, especially teams with new coaches. What is that history? What does that look like? Jim Harbaugh is now in San Fran. He's always been a very good quarterback coach. That could be a huge surplus to Herbert. They have a whole new roster. They lost both receivers. They lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They have a new running back. They got Dobbins from the Ravens. They have a whole new structure there. And how is that going to look? What is his offensive coordinator? What is his credentials? What type of offense does he run? Is it going to be easy for Herbert to just dive into it? Or is it going to take a month for him to figure it out? And then he's going to explode October, November, December. Those are one of two or three of the things that we put into effect because all that stuff matters early on. And it's all depending on the situation. There's a different landscape in the NFL every single year. And, how are you going to find the Houstons of the world from last year into this year? Because they just, they went on a heater. But that first month of the season, CJ Stroud was not that good. I mean, he was still figuring out. We didn't know Tank Dell was going to be that good. Now, did I draft him in fantasy as a sleeper? Yes. Did I expect him to be that good in that offense with his quickness and the offensive coordinator? Yes. And that's the goal, is you want to find that type of team this year that you could dive into before the odds makers do a correction, which usually happens in October, November, December.
Yeah, I think it's just all about finding that one team that you can find some sneaky value with. Like you said, the Texans, I think, were that team last year. I like them this year to beat their win total, win the division. But right, I have a feeling they're going to be a very public team. So that's the concern with the Texans. But it's like, for me, I've already looked at teams to miss the playoffs. I already put a parlay in for these 3 teams to miss the playoffs: the Packers, the Falcons, and the Jets. All to miss the playoffs.
The Falcons are good. They're going to be a good regular season team because it's going to go with the quarterback, and Cousins is phenomenal in the regular season. But then again, he's played in a very hard division where he had Green Bay year after year. And the Lions really picked it up the last couple years. So he's been in a tough division overall, and they've won that division. They just never really did anything in the playoffs. But now Falcons are playing the Panthers twice. I've been saying this forever. Bryce Young is a joke. He's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. He is a factory quarterback from Alabama, and unless he has speed, think about it. Look at the NFL. The quarterbacks that have done well that have come out of Alabama. We have Tua. How did Tua become really good? Because originally he wasn't that good the first year. They gave him speed. He wasn't even that good without Tyreek Hill. They gave him Tyreek Hill because they have speedsters there at Alabama year after year. And I don't think Bryce Young has that in Carolina. Tampa Bay, you don't really know what's going to happen with them year after year. I mean, did they have a good run last year with Baker? Yes. I don't think that's going to continue. I think that they're going to have a regression this year. And so that division's wide open. The Saints are not the Saints of old. So it could be a good year for the Falcons for sure.
But that's exactly why I bet on them to miss the playoffs, because that division's wide open. It was arguably the ugliest division in football last year. And there's just a lot of those games where, you'd probably expect it to be a cakewalk for the Falcons, but I have this weird feeling that they'll split with the Panthers this year. You'll expect them to blow them out, in those two games, and all of a sudden one of those games, Cousins has just the 3 interceptions, just everything that you'd expect to go right doesn't. They're like a 7.5-point favorite at home, and they lose the game outright with like a weird 16-14 game. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I've lost all faith in the Falcons. And while Kirk Cousins is a great regular season quarterback, doesn't move the needle for me with the team as a whole. I've just that there's still 52 other guys that could screw it up for him. So, and then I don't know. I think the AFC is just so crowded that I think the Jets get squeezed out, and I think the same thing with the NFC with the Packers. The Packers get squeezed out too. So
it's going to be a tough. I mean, NFC's wide open. You have San Fran. The Lions are going to be good again. They return everybody. Your Green Bay, I think, is going to have a good season. What I saw out of him, I mean, he is a legitimate starting quarterback. He had a year to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. And when he took over, I mean, you saw his progression. You saw his progression in the second half of the season, how he elevated his game. I wasn't too high on him at the draft, but sometimes it takes coaching at the pro level to elevate your game. And I've seen that. He's making passes he shouldn't coming out of college. And he's able to make every pass on the field, and he makes good decisions. I think they're going to have a good season. They have a good culture in Green Bay and a great fan base and a great leadership all the way from the ownership down. So I do believe that they're going to have a good year.
How about anything for college cost? You looked into that at all yet, or
kind of just diving in to each conference, seeing all the transfers? We had a huge transfer portal last year. I mean, I got beat. We were talking about this on the show yesterday. I got beat up in the bowls this past year. And that was the first year of the real transfer portal where guys were sitting, could opt out. They could just basically move to another team or sit a little bit. The grace period's changed. And now with NIL money, these players are taking the bag and they're moving to colleges where they're getting paid more. And so it was a very, very wonky bowl season. It's probably the first one that I've really taken on the chin in that I could remember. Because years ago, it was like players, maybe a player or two would sit, but it wasn't not nearly as much as it is now. And with NIL money and the transfer portal, man, it was a tough landscape to navigate.
Because if you had to really, really want to leave that team, if you were hitting, a transfer, because you had to sit out a year. And like you said, the money wasn't necessarily there. And, it was just, the only guys that were sitting were the ones that were saving themselves because they knew they were going pro. And now it's just like, you can go wherever. You can go wherever you want, not have to do any penalty because of it. Like you said, you can go where the money is. Some guys cash in on a great season at one school and know that they're going to get paid somewhere else. So, yeah, it's. I think as a bettor, I will say, unfortunately, I think it's going to be the way of the world for the next little while until something happens.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're in that period of they're just throwing money at players, and there's not as much regulation because it's so new. And I think they're going to realize at some point they're going to have to regulate it more to make it more competitive, because there's 39 bowls and 34 of them nobody cares about. Now, granted, this year now we have a 12-team playoff, so all those teams that are in the playoff are going to bring their A game. Nobody's going to sit out. But I don't know if it's going to change anything for those lower bowls. It's going to be the same exact thing. And just going to have to take a different approach this year. But to your question, like you said originally, I'm doing some minor studying, trying to get my power rankings in order for college football. I like to have those with every analytics decision that I make when it gets to college football. So it takes time leading up to it to go over all these teams, similar to what I do for college basketball. So kind of just doing a couple hours a day of just getting through a couple teams and making sure that everything is in order. So by the time college football starts, I'll be ready.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm just doing sort of a refresher, with just like a quick refresher with the teams that I know what they're going to be this season. Like your top tier teams in the SEC, but I'll do a deeper dive on the smaller conferences, like Kennesaw State making their FBS debut this season, but it's like they're two quarterbacks. One's the coach's kid, and the other one went 0 for 6 in a game last year. So it's like it's it's like learning things like that and just trying to find intricacies like that, like knowing these smaller schools. But they're those smaller conferences sometimes where the money's hiding. Like I saw someone earlier mentioned a comment about Troy. Troy last year, the Sun Belt was a money machine at home. App State had a great offense. It's just about finding which schools bring a lot of these guys back. And I think it's going to be exciting to talk about it. Unfortunately, we talked about it yesterday. The Pac-2 is going to be no more. So we kind of have to reminisce about the Pac-12 or Pac-2 or whatever we want to call it now. But it's fine. Got bigger conferences in college football now. The matchups are going to be solid. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get into to football season. So, Costi, what else is going on? Anything?
But right
How's
now,
baseball?
just finalizing. We did soccer for the Euro Cup and Copa, and it's been a really tough landscape to make money with this time around. I've had very successful seasons with soccer in the past with these tournaments, and there was a lot of ties. A lot of bets were pushed because I'll take pick 'em. It just wasn't a huge surplus because I'm a bit on the dog side a lot, and a lot of teams like yesterday, I had the pick 'em and the under in the Spain game, and ended up going over because of that late 90-minute goal by Spain, and that's what gets you. Not Spain, sorry, by it was in the England game. Oh my God, I'm completely drawing a blank these days. Had a long night, but I didn't have England, and England ended
Against
up pulling it
Netherlands?
out. I had the Netherlands, yeah, and I had the under, and both hit me. Now I had Netherlands on the pick 'em, so that one at one point when it was 1-1, I just expected a push, but the over hit, and I ended up losing that bet. And that was, it's a 90-minute goal right before extra time. I mean, injury time. So it happened.
Yeah, I will say try being me, having the draw in England, Netherlands, and the correct score of 1-1 in 90 minutes. And then Ollie Watkins had to break my heart. So
Now I did have the under in the Columbia game that came in. Now I felt like I got pretty lucky there, coming in with 5 posts that were hit in that game. And I didn't think that was possible with having a red card in the first half by Colombia. So I figured, that was going to be a dead loser, but that ended up coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's Colombia and Argentina for the Copa America final, so I'm rooting for Colombia in that one. Just a bitter Canadian fan. And England and
Spain.
Spain.
Spain's really good. That 16-year-old finally
Oh,
scored.
Yamal.
Yeah, Yamal had a lot of assists in the tournament. He started every single match. I mean, he got braces. He's 16, and he's just flying out there as one of the best players out of the whole tournament.
Yeah, it's the next generation.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how that shakes out. But yeah, I'm impressed. Costi and I usually flow pretty well off each other. We managed to go 26 minutes before anybody asked where the games were. So
not one person today. I'm very impressed. Yeah. No, where's the jam session? Where's the layup session?
Now we're gonna get it.
Where's Mitch? Where's Jay?
Yeah, Jay I think has the meat sweats. I don't know.
Definitely has the meat sweats.
There's nothing wrong with meat sweats, by the way, for anybody that's gonna say there's nothing wrong with it. Picasso, how was your baseball yesterday? I know we normally don't talk about the day before, but it was a very dog day yesterday. Yesterday was the was the definition of the dog days of summer.
Yeah, it was. I was on, like I did something I haven't done, and I'm ashamed of it right now.
You went favorites,
not favorites, but I faded my boy. The Sama burned me. Burn me. Imanaga Sama burned me. Orioles have been really good against lefties too. They've just not had a good series. They had 12. They left 12 runs out there in scoring position. It has not been a good series for them, and I faded. I know. I'm ashamed of it. It's something that I'm not. It's probably one of the worst decisions I've made in 2024.
There's some spots where it has to be done, though. I mean, and I wouldn't have. I don't blame you for doing it yesterday.
Just disappointed.
Yeah,
disappointed that I faded my boy. Now I didn't take him on. I didn't get crushed. I had him on the run line. I thought they would get to him early. They would get to the Cubs relievers, and they just left too many guys on base. But the Orioles against lefties have been lights out this year, and there's always a regression. But I usually play the numbers, and in that case, it is what it is. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's not watching the show because he's not happy with me. I'm sorry, Imanaga-sama. Never again.
We always talk about on the morning show. Even the best teams in baseball normally lose 60 games a year. So, Baltimore Orioles, they'll be fine. They had a clunker. Imanaga has had flashes of brilliance. So, for me, it was that I took my fair share of favorites yesterday. Just guys that, and I know that some days I go dog hunting, some days I back a lot of favorites. Yesterday for me was just a day where I thought the favorites just made sense, and I got kicked in the nuts. I had the Giants with Logan Webb at home, considering it's where he pitches better baseball. Jays chased him for 7 runs. The Blue Jays offense, which has been non-existent. Had the Rangers, who've been rolling since they figured out that we had a bet on Joel Robichon, and I think they need to have a solid showing to get back into the division race, because I think the division race is the only way they're making the playoffs. And the Angels jumped on them for 5 runs in the first 3 innings. I'm just looking at the board to see what else was. Oh, the Tampa Bay Rays left 12 guys on base. The San Diego Padres couldn't drum anything up against a Seattle offense that strikes out 1 in every less than 3 at bats. the Guardians just couldn't get it going, couldn't come through against the Tigers. It was just one of those things where it was just one of those days. But you know what? Today's a new day. It's we're almost in the All-Star break. We get to hit the reset button, get to make some money today, come back strong for it. So, Costi, what do you say we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got the Rockies. So we're gonna go just the 1:10 Eastern time slot here. We're gonna go with the Rockies and the Reds, the Guardians and the Tigers, and the Nationals and the Mets. Costi, what do you like here?
On my video, I gave out Colorado. I actually had them yesterday, cashed a 160 ticket. I'm going to take a shot on them again. In this situation, I mean, look, Cincinnati is clearly the better team, but they're streaky, and they lost 3 in a row to Detroit, and now they've won 2 out of 3 versus Colorado. I like to take a shot on these big favorite. Both the pitchers don't impress me. Hunter Green has actually lost his last 5 starts as a pitcher. The last 4 they've lost with him pitching. Yes, does he have a good ERA? But Cincinnati's bullpen doesn't give him any help. Austin Gomber isn't pretty. Also, huge ERA over the last 5, but he's won his last 2 games and against decent teams. I mean, they beat Milwaukee when he pitched, and they beat Kansas City. Not obsessed with this one. Probably will not be a top play for me, but I'm going to take a shot again with Colorado and the Rockies.
Just that one for you, Costi?
Oh, sorry. I forgot we're doing the 3. And then the other one, it's really hard to take Cleveland against Detroit. I mean, it seems like Detroit's been having their number this year. They're 6-4 against them, but I know Cleveland doesn't have I think, is it Spencer Howard? Do you have that listed now?
Yeah, Spencer Howard.
Not obsessed with him either, but I'm going to take a shot here to fade Jack Flaherty. I know he's good, but I think them losing yesterday. I'm going to take a shot with them. Take a shot with Cleveland. And then in the last one, man, Mackenzie Gore against Peterson. Man, the Mets have been beating up on Washington. Another game. This game I'm not going to bet either. I'm not obsessed with this early time slot. Washington's lost the first 2. I think they could sneak one out as one of them here. I'm going to go with Washington too. Plus 116. All dogs. Rockies plus 160. Cleveland plus 112. Nationals plus 116.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. The thing for me is I like that Rockies play. I think the term for Austin Gomber that I would use is straight ass. He's been that way for a lot of the season. However, we saw yesterday the Reds have had some issues hitting left-handed pitching as of late. In the month of July so far, the Cincinnati Reds, I'm just pulling it up right here, against left-handed pitching, 28th in team OPS. They're hitting 171. So as much as I don't like Austin Gomber, it was the same thing with Kyle Freeland. The numbers are ugly on the surface, and Gomber's had some issues pitching on the road. I mean, his 4 starts in the month of June. He's given up 3 runs in 3 innings, 4 runs in 5, 8 runs in 3 innings against the Twins, and 5 runs in 5 1/3 against the Astros. But I think that more often than not, the Reds have lost his starts this year. I'm just not about laying minus 185 with Hunter Green. So I'll take a shot with Austin Gomber and the Rockies. I'm going to take the Tigers in the first 5 against the Guardians. I think once you get past the starters, the bullpen edge does significantly go to Cleveland. I also just think that the Tigers can get to Spencer Howard. Howard was not good with the Giants. He was not good with the Philadelphia Phillies, where he started his career. Jack Flaherty kept getting his start pushed back. He's been banged up, but I think he can have a good enough start here. The Tigers have been able to find runs in this series. They've been solid offensively for the last little bit. So I'm going to go with the Tigers in the first 5. I'm going to go with the Mets in the first 5 as well. If you look at the last 5 games for the New York Mets, both these teams have been hitting left-handed pitching, but you know, when you look at the Mets against lefties in the last 5, they're hitting 298. And the thing for me that stands out is the pitching. In the last 5 for the Nationals, the starters have been weak, the relievers have been better. For the Mets, the starting pitching has a sub-2 ERA as a group, but the Mets have an ERA just under 8 out of the bullpen. They have the worst bullpen ERA in the month of July. A lot of that has to do with, there's been a couple blowouts where the bullpen just got rocked over like 3 innings, 2 1/3, whatever. But it is what it is. It still bloats that ERA. But I think that the Mets can get to Mackenzie Gore in the first 5. The Mets have won both of Gore's starts against them this season. So I'm going to take the Mets in the first 5 against the Nationals. Wouldn't surprise me if the Mets, gave it up late, but I think that's why I'm going first 5 with the Mets here. But we'll move on to, let me find my spot here again. We got the Pirates and the Brew Crew. We got the Blue Jays and the Giants, and the Dodgers and the Phillies. Costi, what do you got in these 3?
Oh man, I'm not fading Skeens. They usually pitch really well behind him. The guy's an all-star. He's the next generation. The guy's absolutely incredible. I've watched him pitch probably every single game. The guy barely gives up any runs. Yes, overall, Brewers have been hitting righties pretty well, almost 260 on the season, but over the last 10, it's dropped down a little bit, 4.9 runs a game. And the Pirates are averaging in their last 10, 6 runs a game against righties as well. I think they're going to get the Savale early. Savale did not have a good first outing for the Brewers. First game, he has not had a great season for Tampa Bay prior to that. I think this is one that they could actually steal here, especially coming off a 9-0 blowout yesterday. I think Pittsburgh is going to come back here, and the bats are going to wake up. I mean, I know the Brew Crew are playing well overall, but I think this is one with Skeens I'm going to take here. It's a short favorite. And then another first for me, I'm going to go with Gausman. I've not taken Gausman. I know it's a weird, wacky Thursday over here. I just don't trust Jordan Hicks. I mean, Jordan Hicks has been getting rocked. Lost 4 of his last 5. And he's just not, he's giving them 5 innings on average. He's not even getting into the 6th. So his pitch counts, they pull him after 85, 90 pitches. He's not going to be able to pitch 100 pitches. And what's happening is San Francisco's bullpen's not giving him anything to get even a start and a win out of him. I mean, there's a lot of no decisions out of him. So I'm going to take Gausman and a short dog with Toronto. And I'm going right back to the well here. Dodgers have to be able to win one of these. I'm not laying 150 with Philly, with Nola. I know Nola's an all-star and he's a stud, but the odds are always in your favor when you get the Dodgers as a dog. It hasn't worked out. The first 2 games of this series, they've been dogs in both and they've lost, but I think this is one that they could steal here. Knack's not getting any run support either. Low ERA, but they're not winning with him pitching either. But I think this is going to be a closer game. It was very close yesterday. The Dodgers were up early. Then the Phillies came back. Then the Dodgers got a run late, but couldn't tie it up to take it to extra. So I'm going to take the Dodgers here to not get the sweep. Plus 128.
I think that Blue Jays Giants game, I'm going to go with the under 7.5. Thing I will say about Hicks is that he does pitch better at Oracle Park, a 3.12 ERA, and he does have a better ERA in day starts, 2.96. Gausman pitches way better on the road. That's been his story this season. I mean, look at his home road splits. At home, 7.19 ERA. On the road, a 2.31 ERA. So I think it's going to be a bit of a pitcher's duel. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. Plus, the Blue Jays and consistent offense are words that do not go in the same sentence. They hung up 10 runs on the Giants yesterday. I think they come back down to earth a little bit here. So I'm gonna go with the under in that one. I'm gonna go with the over in Dodgers Phillies. I think the Phillies can get to Landon Knack, who's I think just in there right now based out of necessity. This is all of a sudden a really, really young Dodgers rotation. After now Tyler Glasnow's on the shelf. Walker Buehler's been in and out of the rotation. I don't even know what's going on with Clayton Kershaw. I don't even know if he's retiring or what's going on with that. But yeah, this and James Paxton either banged up or underperforming. So the Dodgers lineup is all out of sorts right now from a pitching rotation standpoint. But I think the Dodgers still have a talented lineup that can get to Aaron Nola. I mean, in 2 starts against the Dodgers last year, Nola gave up 10 runs. The lineup is very, very similar from last year for the most part. And I think they can get to him here. I mean, Nola's been a guy that can give you 6 innings, but he's usually good to give up 3 runs and a home run in those innings as well. So I like the over 9.5 in that one. And I'm with you on Paul Skeens. I'm with you on the Pirates here. Thing with me about the Pirates is that this is actually a pretty good price for a Paul Skeens start. I know it's the Dodgers and you're getting even money with the division leading Brewers team, but I'll say this. This for me is more of is sort of the perfect storm where you're getting Paul Skeens at a great price, but I'm also getting to fade Aaron Savale, which everybody knows if you watch this morning show, I love fading Aaron Savale. The move that the Brewers made for him makes no sense to me because I don't think Aaron Savale is that good of a starting pitcher. And what we saw from him this year was that he pitched well at Tropicana Field, but on the road was where he struggled. He's all of a sudden in a new ballpark. What's, for me to think that this is going to be any different for Savale? Pitched against the Dodgers, gave up 4 runs, 3 home runs. And now, Savale's a home run prone pitcher. He's given up 19 home runs this season. Now you face a Pirates lineup that all of a sudden in the month of July is one of the hotter hitting lineups against righties. And they lead baseball with 16 home runs in the month of July against right-handed pitching. So I think the Pirates get to Savale. I think the Pirates bullpen, which at one point was a real big weakness of this team, can actually back up Skeens once he leaves after 7 solid innings. So give me the Pirates. I'm with Costi on that one. But we'll move on. We got our next time slot of the Cubs and the Orioles, the Yankees and the Rays, and the A's and the Red Sox. Costi.
So I think I picked the wrong lefty to go against. I'm going right back to the well here with the Orioles. Albert Suarez is, outside of Grayson Rodriguez, I think is our second best pitcher on this staff. I think the Orioles will get the Justin Steele. They normally hit lefties really well. Yesterday was not an example of that, but now that they have back-to-back days against lefties, I think they're going to get to them. They've had a very bad series thus far, but it's been extremely hot the last couple of days. Today it's a little bit cooler. I think that's going to, it's going to get the Orioles to spark here. They're still a team that's won 57 games so far. And they're 29-19 at home. They lost 2 in a row. I'm going to take the Orioles run line here, -1.5. I think, like I said, they're going to get to this lefty. Imanaga proved the system wrong, but, I got burned once. Not going to get burned again. Imanaga is much better than Steele. So I'll take the Orioles run line. Then, and I've actually got the Yankees-Tampa Bay series right in both games. This one, I'm going with Nestor Cortez. I think you're getting a very short favor price. Shane Baz has only pitched 1 game this year, and he got rocked in that first game. I'm not a believer that he's going to be able to, do anything versus this Yankees lineup. Yankees haven't scored a ton of runs of late, but it just means that there could be definitely a correction there, and they could easily go off. I mean, they're playing horrible ball. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Tampa Bay's not that much better. I think getting a short price with the Yankees here with Nestor is a win for me. So I'll take the Yankees there. And this Oakland-Boston game, man. I mean, I would never lay 230 with anybody. Would I be surprised if you told me tomorrow that the A's pulled out one? No. This is just one that I'm getting away from altogether. I mean, Tanner Hawk's been pitching very good this entire season. And I don't trust the A's right now. They're only averaging 3.7 runs a game over the whole season, but they have increased it where they're hitting the ball better. They're averaging 4.8 over the last 10, but Boston's been on a tear. They own the head-to-head versus them. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Boston's been balling, but I can't lay the price. I'm going to lay off the game altogether. If you want to throw something in a parlay, take the Boston run line here, but that's not going to give you good value as well. It's just one of those games. I don't trust it, and I could easily see Oakland squeezing one out. I wouldn't be that shocked, but I'm not going to lay 230 with anybody. So in a parlay, if you want to throw it in, Boston on the run line.
So for that Cubs-Orioles game, I'm going to go with the under in the first 5. As much as I love the Orioles this season and made a lot of money backing them, right now the bullpen just hasn't had it. A 6.0 ERA in their last 5, 6.46 ERA in their last 10. The starters haven't been spectacular either. But I don't know if I can trust the Cubs lineup. Suarez has pitched better at home. If I look at his home and road splits, Suarez a 1.50 ERA at home, also a 5-1 record and a 2.02 ERA in night games this season. So I think the Cubs will have some issues early on against him. But I also think that the Orioles could have some issues with Justin Steele early on as well. I know, they struggled against Himanaga yesterday, and that's complete. They're two completely different pitchers. But Steele's pitched extremely well himself as of late. I was fading him early on this season, and he started to come on strong. He's given up 3 runs or less in each of his last 5 starts. He's coming off a complete game 1-run performance against the Angels. So I think it's an under in the first 5 before the bullpens get involved. I'm going to go with the Rays at home. I know it's, Nestor Cortez, Baz only had 1 start, but I think it was important that, he kept in the game. I mean, he had the 1 bad inning against, I'm trying to remember who he faced in his first start back against the Rangers. He had the 1 bad inning, but stayed in the game, settled down, made it 6 full, turned it into a quality start. And I think the Rays shot themselves in the foot last night. They left 12 men on base. They went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Nestor Cortez has been a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher. On the road, he's been terrible. It's at home where you back him. You back him at Yankee Stadium, 1.81 ERA. But on the road, 5.63 ERA. The Yankees 2-7 as a team in his 9 road starts. They've lost 7 of his last 8 away from Yankee Stadium. So I'll back the Rays. It's a home dog. I'm still not 100% sold on the Yankees right now. And I really did not go anywhere near that A's Red Sox game with a 10-foot pole. If I had to take the over, maybe Red Sox run line, but I mean, we've seen a lot of runs in this series already. So I'll take the over in A's Red Sox. Kotz, before we get into the last time slot, what do you got going on over on your side today?
So if anybody's interested in joining the groups that we deal with, which means that you're getting access to all the syndicates that we get information from. So all the bets that they make, we repost them on a private messaging platform called Telegram. It's only for big players because of the volume that we put down day after day after day. So if you're somebody that has a bankroll 5,000, 10,000 or more, we're doing Christmas in July where you're getting the entire football season discounted as well as the rest of baseball and everything that goes along with it for a fraction of the cost that we normally charge. So if you're somebody that's a big player and has been watching the videos and the content that Eric and myself provide, because we do a lot of education videos, definitely give me a call. It's 443-780-5663, and I'll post it in the comments again.
And for me today, got my my $19 pickoff play. Also got my matinee mismatch if you're looking for an afternoon bet, or I got those two plays and a bonus MLB play in there as part of my MLB triple play for today's card. No play officially in the WNBA game. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but yeah, jump on something. You know, even if you do it heading into the All-Star break, we got Christmas in July coming up at the premium side as well. Great value on the long-term passes there as well. So it's definitely something that you guys are going to want to check out. I can promise you, it's some of the best value that we put out every single year. So definitely make sure you check those out. But we're getting to our last time slot here. We've got the Marlins and the Astros. We got the Mariners and the Angels, and the Braves and the Diamondbacks. Costi, what do you like here?
I don't have a game. I don't have a play on the Houston Miami game. There's no pitcher listed for Houston. Never ran the analytics.
I'm seeing Bloss.
You're seeing Bloss? Okay.
Spot starter.
I don't like this game at all. I'm not laying 180. Miami's prone to maybe squeeze one out here. They've been getting blasted in this entire series. So it's just one of those games where I'm just completely taking a Ruffalo on. I have no interest in it, nor will I lay a huge favorite price on Houston. Then in the Seattle Angels game, I like even though the Angels came out and they beat the crap out of Texas yesterday. I actually had Texas and lost that game. I like the way Seattle's playing. They just came in there in a little mini series and beat up on the Padres. Take the run line on Luis Castillo. I've been playing him a lot this year and done very good. I think the relievers are going to be good enough in this game. Kushinowicz is his first start of the season, so you're not really know what you're going to get out of him. And Seattle bats have been hot, and they've been scoring, and they've been closing games. So Seattle run line for me. And in the last one, I'm going to go with Max Fried, and getting a very, very short price with the Braves here. Yes, Brandon Pfaadt's been really good this year. Max Fried, his losses have come against Philly, which we know is a huge powerhouse. Then he won 3 in a row against Pittsburgh, the Yankees, and Detroit. And then he lost against Baltimore 4-0. So 2 of the losses behind him, really one of those games where he gave up a lot of runs in that Philly game. But outside of that, I mean, he's pitching really well. I like what I'm seeing out of them. And look, the A's bats have to wake up here. I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries, but I just like them in this one with a short favorite price. So Braves for me in the last one.
I say as always with Costi, I'm impressed with the pronunciation of Kohanowitz.
What did I say?
No, I'm saying you did pretty well with it. I'm saying it's like
I would say it's Kohanowitz.
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 Yeah, that's what it looks like, actually.
Polish.
Yeah. I lost my place. There we go. Houston, Miami. I mean, if I had to do anything here, I'd probably take Houston run line or Yordan Alvarez home run. Robert Munoz has been batting practice this season for opposing teams. And I think that the Astros can get a couple bombs off of Munoz. I think Alvarez is probably the main bat to expect that from. In Seattle and the Angels, I lean Seattle. I don't love it, especially at this price. Kohanowitz, 4.55 ERA in Double-A this season. He's getting fast tracked, as a lot of Angels pitchers have, just out of necessity. There's injuries throughout this rotation. And I don't know. I still don't trust him at home, even though they did get a win against the Rangers in the series finale on Wednesday. The Mariners still don't trust him against righties, but I think if it would have to be a more trustworthy righty than what they're up against here in Kohanowitz. So give me the Mariners there. And I'm going to lean towards the Diamondbacks. I don't love it. I really don't like this last time slot all that much. The Diamondbacks did hit Max Fried earlier this season. They have been decent against lefties. The Braves, It's just like they haven't been great against right-handed pitching. This is a good lineup on paper, but I think that's been sort of the story for them for the majority of the season. Good lineup on paper, don't necessarily always deliver the results. Maybe you take the Diamondbacks in the first 5 because once we get to the bullpens, the Braves have a significant edge. But yeah, lean towards the Diamondbacks in that one for me though. Don't love it though. But, all right, we got some WNBA. Only one game on the board. We got the Liberty and the Sky. Liberty laying 10 at home on the second half of the back-to-back. Sky last night beating up on the Dream at home 78-69. Angel Reese needing the dying seconds to get another double-double, keep the streak alive. Meanwhile, New York had the day game, early game, and took down Connecticut on the road, so 71-68. Costi, do you have anything in this game?
Yeah, so I have one of my groups gave me the Sky plus 11. Now the line is 10 when that was given out. So don't have a lot of input in terms of I don't do any sort of research or analytics for WNBA. I just get given the games and I repost them. So that's who they had plus 11. So when it was actually given out at 6 o'clock in the morning, the line was 11. So, you're constantly beating the market, getting that better price.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Sky and the points as well. These back-to-back spots can be very, very tricky. Both teams traveling to New York for this one. Randy Chambers, one of our head writers at Sports Chat Plays, on WNBA Gurus, had this nugget that I find very, very interesting. The New York Liberty in their last 16 games is double-digit favorite, just 2-14 against the spread. So the Sky have already beat the Liberty twice this season. I don't know if that first game was a regular season game. They beat up on them 101-53. Yeah, I don't think it was. Actually, yeah, you had Breanna Stewart only played 21 minutes. Yeah, I don't know if that was a regular season game. Might have been. But then the one that I can confirm was in the regular season. The Sky beat the Liberty in New York as 16.5-point dogs. I get it. Liberty won the last matchup by 13, but 10 just seems like a lot for both teams on a back-to-back spots. Could be one of those ugly games. And I think Chicago might be able to sneak in the back door. So I'll take Chicago in the points, sprinkle a little bit on Sky money line, and Angel Reese double-double to keep the streak alive. Maybe the extendo clip on her rebounds. Maybe she bounces back here, but it's going to be tough against Stewie inside. And I didn't even want to give anything out in that CFL game tonight. Some people were asking about it in the comments. Yeah, because I don't trust the Argos, and Montreal's been way better this season, but 7.5 is a lot. So yeah, nothing for me in the CFL. But Costi, I think it's that time for us.
Parlay time.
Parlay.
So
it wouldn't be the same if someone didn't do it. So
no. We're gonna get a juicy one for you.
What do you like here?
Dodgers, Pirates, Orioles, Braves.
All right, let's see here. I'm gonna go with. Let's go with the first 5 parlay. Let's go with. Actually, no, let's not do completely first 5. Let's go with the Tigers first 5, Mets first 5, under in Blue Jays Giants. And if you want to add a 4th, I would add the Chicago Sky and the points. I think that's it.
There you have it.
Everyone, make sure that you check out our premium picks, Pick Dogs Premium. Check out our merch. The link in the description of the video below. You can wear the stuff that we wear in our videos. And I saw some of it's great quality stuff.
Trucker hat.
Custy's got his trucker hat. I tell you, it is quality stuff. I mean, we don't skimp.
It's really nice.
So I can tell you, Mitch. I think Mitch's exact words were, "If I wouldn't let it touch my body, I'm not selling it." Take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, appreciate everyone for joining us today. Costy, I'll be back tomorrow. I believe Jay's gonna be back with us tomorrow.
Yeah,
he can tell us all about his fishing trip. But yeah, we'll see. We did this one. I'm gonna put the timestamps in, so if you want to hear our thoughts on the Yankees race, you can go back and check it out. But yeah, we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Appreciate everyone for joining us. Gonna have more videos up on the channel today, so definitely make sure you stay tuned. Tune into the drive through at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you guys later.